Hi, I'm Chris Martirano, here with American Music and Sound and our great friends at Sweetwater. I'm going to be presenting the Numa Compact 2 to you. It's a wonderful instrument, has a lot of different cool features packed in a very lightweight enclosure. This instrument weighs a mere 15.5 pounds. Think about that the next time you're heading out to your gig. How much are you carrying on your back? The instrument features 1 gig of sound memory, filled with great sounds under 8 different categories. Obviously, it's an 88-note instrument. It's a spring action with a weight, but it's a very nice feel. And the instrument features 128 voices of polyphony. To complement that package, it's a 4-zone controller as well. There are 4 discrete zones. 2 of them allow you to use internal sounds, so you can do simple splits and layers. And then 2 of them are dedicated to external. They can be MIDI zones over MIDI cables or over USB. You have dual effects processors. You can have 2 effects on the upper or the lower, as they refer to it when you're doing a split, or 2 on one layer and 2 on another layer if you're doing a layer. Then you have a complement of 2 bands of EQ, bass and treble, a multi-band compressor, and then you have reverb. In addition, the pianos have a simulated damper soundboard resonance model. So there's a lot packed into the instrument. The feature set is very easy to operate. There are dedicated buttons on the front panel. There are categories listed: acoustic piano, electric piano, and so on. The effects are clearly labeled as well, with an LED that shows you whether you're applying it to the upper or the lower, and which effect is engaged. And then, of course, you have an amount control on a knob. You have 2 joysticks on the front panel. The first is spring-loaded in the X and Y position, so if I push it to the left and let go, it'll spring back, or to the right, the same up or down. The next joystick is only spring-loaded in the up or down or the Y axis. The X axis is not. So you can imagine the kinds of controls you might want to use that on. For example, you might want to use left and right for pitch bend on the spring-loaded stick 1. You might want to use up or down for doing filter control and let it go if you wanted to snap back to a filter position you chose. You might use the non-spring-loaded stick for things like envelope control or some kind of a parameter that you want to be moving in real time and then you want to leave it set at a certain location. So very well thought out. The user has 99 locations they can write user patches to, which is very cool. You have a small OLED display here that allows us the ability to see what's going on inside the instrument. The encoder next to it is a rotary encoder that also functions as a push switch. So you can push down also to engage the parameter you're looking for. Plus there's editing. It's not just a preset instrument. You can actually make some cool edits. So let's take a spin and listen to some of the programs. The interface works quite simply. You press a category button, you're presented with a number of pages that show you instruments that apply to that category. Using the encoder, you scroll to the one that you want and you press to select it. Very easy to do. So here's the concert grand piano. I'm going to put a little bit of reverb on it. The variety of pianos offered are not just modifications based on one multi-sample, but actual different pianos that were recorded. With 1 gigabyte of memory, they've packed a lot of sounds in here. How many? There are 88 different sounds, different instrument sounds. So I'm going to go back in the piano category and I'm going to select a much different piano. This one will be a rock piano. You can hear how bright and cutting that piano is. That'll cut through any mix, I guarantee you. Some of the other pianos include, just by name, uprights. There are electric grands. that you can imagine from the old days. Many of us that carried them can't stand up straight anymore. But this is beautiful, 15.5 pounds. Listen to this electric grand sound. While I'm on that sound, I'm going to add some chorusing to that. It's as simple as touching a button. So right now I'm selecting chorus. I'm selecting an amount. My joystick is automatically mapped to do the rate of the chorusing. So they really thought about everything. Every sound has an effect already assigned to it that comes up. You can, of course, disable that feature and then program your own and save them as your sounds. But they did a nice job on thinking about putting the sound effects that you might want when you create the sound, when you call it up from their stock patches even. So right now, we'll go on to another category, electric pianos. This is a Tyne electric piano, and automatically it comes up with a phaser on it. And again, the phaser speed will be controlled by the joystick, the depth by the knob. You can hear the dynamics. You can hear that when you hit it hard, you get that nice bark. When you play light, you get a nice belly response. Very, very nice warm sound. If we stay in the electric piano category and go to a different kind of an electric piano, this is a reed electric piano. This one automatically comes up with a tremolo on it, which was a feature found on the originals as well. Tremolo speed, again, controlled by stick 2. Great sound. If we go to the keys category, you're going to find clavinets, harpsichords, things of that nature, vibes, marimbas. Very cool. This one comes up with a flanger on it. I'm going to jump to the next category, bass and guitars. There's a really nice acoustic bass. Comes up with a touch of room reverb on it, and that's all. You can hear the finger actually plucking on the string. The electric bass, I like also. It's very tight and punchy, reminiscent kind of a little bit, almost fretless. You even get harmonics on the top. A lot of thought went into the sound programming. A lot of fun to play. We go to some of the guitars. I'll just skip. There's slap and plucked. So many sounds, so I'll just jump to another one. Here's an electric guitar. And I'm going to put a little bit of, it comes up with chorusing and already panning on it. So great in a track, lay that wash down. It's really nice, and especially when we start to layer them with other sounds, they sound great. Organs, they did a really nice job on the organ. There are many different presets. There's a jazz organ 1 and 2, full drawbars. There's a rotary emulation in here, which is very nice. And there's a stick 2 will do the control between the speeds, slow and fast. And if I want to put a little grunge on it, I can add a little overdrive and get more of a kind of a crunchy sound. So very, very cool. They did a great job with the organs. Many of the other organ patches in here, such as all drawbars, are great. You get that nice full sound. Let's look at the synth category. They thought a lot about the programming of the controls as well. Stick 2, when you press up or down, will open and close the filter. So I'll pick a synth pad they have in here, and we can listen what goes on. So you can actually fade in and out or turn up and down the filter frequency. Some of the other sounds they have. Okay, let me show you a few of the synth basses. They're really great. And this one I'm going to use the multi-band compressor, so you can kind of hear the spatial effect that it creates as well. It's a lot of fun, these sounds to play. Another synth bass, you can get an idea, also very different in nature. So we have orchestra sounds, string sounds, brass, horns. I can't go through all of them here. There's accordions, some really nice accordions actually. We'll play one of them, let you hear what that sounds like. Then you find a lot of world sounds, choirs, oohs, ahs, things of that nature. And then world sounds like bouzouki, oud, and other things. There's even a GM drum kit in here. So if you want to lay down a track and play some drums and then add your instruments in on some kind of DAW or some multi-track on your iOS device or whatever, you can have the whole thing going on here. There's speakers on the back. I don't know that you've not noticed them by now, but they're 10 watts of power each. And actually in a hotel room or up against a wall, a few inches from a wall, they sound quite impressive. Headphone out as well. So taking this on the road with you, if you're a touring musician or somebody who's playing in a circuit around a regional area, you want to bring something up to your hotel room, 15.5 pounds, throw it under your arm, go upstairs, practice your exercises. Also take it out with the gig and then use it in your studio as a controller or with your laptop again on the road. So really, really nice design. I'm going to start to make some splits and layers just to let you see how that works as well. The most simple would be, let's go back to acoustic piano, and I'm going to put the acoustic piano with an upright bass, standard stuff for the club musician. Press a split button. I'm immediately in a split mode. choose the bass that I want by pressing the button underneath the left half of the display. And in this case, I want an acoustic bass. So I'll press the bass category and select acoustic bass. So now I have, we can see my split point is set here between G sharp and A. If I want to change the split point, it's pretty easy. Just press the button and hold, select split point, and I can set the split point exactly where I want it. If I want to do something else, for example, to the sound, maybe I want to move the piano down an octave. Right now, here it's set at the normal pitch. I can press the edit button, go to the piano, and then select the piano side and transpose it down an octave. So very nice. If I put it again in my split mode, now I have the piano back in its normal range. Bass, maybe I don't want the bass to be reading the sustain pedal, because that's a drag when you're playing. Then the bass keeps getting all washed out. So I'll hit edit again, and I'll step over to the pedal assignments. And now I'm going to tell the pedal for sustain I want it off. So these are the kind of features you would expect. If you're doing a layer, it's also nice to say that you want the CC pedal to just do volume for, say, something like for strings. So here's, again, the simple split of just bass and piano. Very simple stuff for clubs. I want to do a quick layer. Piano and strings would be the most obvious. I have piano on the right side, or what they call upper, and on the left or the lower, I now selected orchestra strings 1. I'm going to do a quick edit here because I know I don't want my pedals, my volume pedal specifically, to be affecting the piano, but I do want it to affect the strings. And I want both of them to be seeing sustain. So now I have a setup where I have both sounds layered. Well, for me, the strings are too loud. Right on the front panel without any editing, all I have to do is select my upper or lower sound and turn the large encoder, and I can reduce the volume. So as I'm playing, I'm going to turn the strings up and down. My volume pedal is still connected to the strings, so I can still fade them out. So these are the primary functions that you'd want for something if you're going out quick to gig, do a quick bar gig or a solo gig. You've got all the stock meat and potato sounds that you need, easy split and layer functions, great sounding effects, and then you have this package that's 15.5 pounds. It's a really, really great addition to anyone's studio, as well as the 4 zones are really, you can control internal sounds, but you can make all 4 zones also control external. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Martirano, and this is the Numa Compact 2. If you need more information, contact your Sweetwater sales engineers. They're the expert. They've got all the answers, and they know the products as well as I do.